So if you take a look right now, you'll see that I have four different brushes going from small to rather large. And then I have the top that came off of this brush here. I want to tell you right now that you never want to try and put this back onto your brushes because you will destroy the head of the brush trying to do that. That's only for shipping. Okay, so my favorite brush, my brush of choice is a nylon brush. This brand is Dynasty, and it's a number 4. I find the number 4 is kind of the spork of brushes. It's a spoon, it's a fork, it's pretty much everything that you want. But you can always go smaller or bigger. I'm now going to show you how to have changes in value and in color, as I've said that you would be well served doing. Okay, so I'm making sure that I've got a little bit of cold water, nice clear water. Make sure to keep that water clean. If you need to have 2 cups of water in order to always have one clean, do that. I'm going to start by drawing a shape here. Make sure that you can see it. And then I'd like to start by showing you the paint that I'm going to be using. This is student grade Prang paint. There's nothing fancy here by Dixon, but it's a really good paint for just noodling around. If you want to get into some serious painting, then you probably want to use something that's more artist grade. So most of those come in tubes. All right, I'm putting down some water, and this is plain Xerox paper. I suggest that you practice on plain Xerox paper. Why waste good supplies? I'm not a fan of that. I'm adding a little bit of blue right here, and you can see it moving all over. Now I'm going to add the complement of blue, orange. I'm going to show you why I like Prang. If I mix blue and orange, which of course are complementary color, you'll see that in short order, I have in fact created something that looks like neutral gray. All right, and you can see that it does in fact look gray. Give you a little bit more light here. So that's one of the nice things about this Prang paint. Now here's some red. I'm going to mix a little bit of green in, which is of course the complement of red. And once again, because these are tuned properly, you notice how the red gets dulled really quickly when you add its complement. All right, and so I'm stirring this up. It still looks a little bit red, so I'm going to add a little bit more green. And you can see that little by little, the red is losing its brightness, its intensity. And once again, here we have something that's not as dark, but you can see that it's close to the same gray. Now this gray is a little bit bluer, so it probably required a little bit more orange. This is more neutral gray. This looks a little bit blue, as I said, but I wanted to show you how these colors are tuned properly. And if time was not of the essence here, I would just keep going to show you that I could get these to look just about identical. Now, when you're going to do a shape, you want to make sure to paint properly. And that means that if you don't want to go out of the line, start your brush inside the line and then paint along the line. If you feel yourself being uncomfortable, stop, come back into the middle, lift your brush. All right, now the paint will only go where your water is. So it's very important to get your water exactly where you want it. All right, so you can see that the paper is in fact warping a little bit, which will not happen with your watercolor paper. Also, if you make a mistake, you will find that getting rid of mistakes on watercolor paper is a lot easier. All right, so now I'm going to try a change in value. All right, so right now I'm adding some blue here, and you can see that the blue instantly starts spreading, but it will not go out of the line. All right, so I'm going along here, and you can see that in some cases here, I'm not even going near the line, and it's just filling in right to the line, because wherever there's water, that's where the paint's going to go. All right, so you can see that I went out of the line here. What would I do? I would take my cup of water, I would take my brush, squeeze it out. You can see that it's actually flat now, and bring my brush all the way in. Why am I doing that? Because I want to make sure that the paint doesn't keep coming out. And I keep on dipping the brush in, squeezing it, and lifting it out. So you can see that now I've pretty much lightened it. It would be much lighter if I were doing this on watercolor paper. So you can see now that I have some very dark blue, not very dark blue. I have some dark blue, not very dark. And I have some lighter blue. I'm going to make this a lot darker value here. All right, so now I've darkened the value even more. And once again, making it go from light to dark. If I want to, I can get really daring and add a little bit of black to the blue, which will make it even darker and make it a darker shade of blue. You don't want to use black by itself, because black by itself will suck up all of the light rays, and that's not going to be good for your color recognition for your eyes. So I am using blue here. I dropped a little bit of water there. I'm not going to worry about it because the water will dry totally clear and there's no reason to even deal with it. It'll just go away by itself. Anything I do might make more of a mess. All right, so as you might be able to tell, I'm rushing here. So now you can see that I have a real change in value from dark to light blue. Now I'm going to go for a change in color. So I'm going to try adding some yellow over here. All right, so assuming that this is still relatively wet, this yellow will travel along here. And you will see that in some places we'll get some blue-green, might get some yellow-green, might get some straight on green. All right, so you can see here that I now have a change in color, but not so much a change in value. So I'm going to use that same technique. I'm going to squeeze out the brush and I'm going to suck up some of this paint. And by sucking up some of the paint in the brush, you can see that now I really do have a change in value. Now there is something that you can use called white watercolor. And so if you really want to use white watercolor, you can put down a little bit of that. That's what I'm doing here. And you can see you can lighten this pretty quickly. Be careful, white watercolor tends to make your watercolor not so see-through. And that doesn't bode well for your watercolor look. So you got to be careful if you are using white paint. You're better off not using the white watercolor and just giving yourself the values with the white paper showing through. Okay, so there we are. Once again, little dot of water there. I'm not worrying about it because it's not touching the paint and it's not going to suck the paint out. If, however, this were big enough to do so, take a look, and you can see that instantly that yellow goes out of the line. You see it traveling right there? So that would be something that I would want to worry about. All right? All right. I hope that that works for you, and have a good day.